Ah, my brother, Lionel Wafer. Let's just say, if you needed a surgeon, a pirate, an author, or just someone to get arrested with, you called Lionel. This story begins in 1677, when Lionel, at the age of 37, relieved his midlife crisis by jumping into life at sea. His first gig? Surgeon's assistant on the Great Anne, sailing to the exotic islands of Sumatra and Java. On his second voyage, he climbed the ladder to surgeon's mate, then jumped ship in Jamaica, literally, because our older brother lived there. He decided to settle down in Port Royal and opened up a surgical practice. Sounds exciting and adventurous, until you recall that 17th century surgery was often glorified guesswork with a hacksaw. So when Captain John Cook came knocking for privateers, Lionel was ready to go. Now, privateers were basically pirates with paperwork. Countries, jealous of Spain's gold and silver laden galleons, handed out hall passes to guys like Cook so they could plunder legally. You know, for patriotism. In 1680, Lionel signed up with Captain Bartholomew Sharp to cross the Isthmus of Darien, what we now call Panama. It was a rough jungle trek, hot, humid, full of bugs and complaints. Among the crew was William Dampier, part adventurer, part naturalist, part drama magnate. Together they decided they did Sharp because, surprise, the plunder wasn't divided fairly, and he was a lily-livered leader. During their retraced trek through the jungle, a little mishap involving drying gunpowder left Lionel with a severe leg burn. Unable to go on, with his medical kit stolen, thanks guys, he was taken in by the Kuna, an indigenous tribe who uses chewed up leaves to treat open wounds. The fact was, it worked better than his supplies. He impressed them with his modern medical skills. When the chief's wife fell ill, instead of the traditional method of shoot her with tiny arrows until she bleeds, Lionel made a tiny cut into a small vein and called it a day. Revolutionary technology. By the time his old crew returned, they barely recognized him. He was tanned, tattooed, nearly naked, and sporting a nose ring. Honestly, I'd say Survivor 1680's edition. But while living with the Kuna, Lionel kept a detailed journal of their culture, the landscape, and wildlife, which would later make him famous. In 1682, he rejoined Dampier and returned to his favorite hobby of privateering. They hit the Caribbean, the American East Coast, and then looped all the way around to Africa and South America. 3 years of raiding later, with a new captain, Edward Davis, he came home with a fortune, or he tried to. In 1688, Lionel, Davis, and John Hinson attempted to return to the colonies, perhaps to take advantage of the royal pardons offered to pirates. With a treasure of £4,000, about $1.5 million today, they were arrested crossing the Chesapeake Bay after Davis's slaves spilled the tea. Nah, it wasn't honest trading that got them that treasure. So Lionel went from privateer to prisoner, again, adding to that resume. 1 year in the James County City Jail, released on bail, and surprise, a pardon, and after making a very generous donation to the Crown, of course. Lionel gave £300 to founding the College of William and Mary. Pirate booty at work funding higher education. He settled in London and wrote a new voyage and description of the Isthmus of America. Published in 1699, it was a smash hit. Suddenly, Lionel was the expert on Panama. Scotland even sought his advice to build a colony there. Everyone died, but hey, he wasn't on site for that part. Lionel was undeterred. He lobbied the British government to invest in the region, claiming it was the key to world trade. And honestly, he wasn't wrong. So, let's raise a glass to my brother. Lionel Wafer, privateer, surgeon, pirate, prisoner, philanthropist, and visionary.